Started. Welcome everybody to the final. Well, I don't want to say it that way. That sounds really,
Yeah.
really maybe a little rough. To the holiday meeting. Appreciate everybody coming out again today. For those of us who made the trek, thank you. Good to see everybody again. Couple things. Wanted to welcome a new board member, Commissioner Cerna, from Lincoln County. I don't know if you want to say hi or say a couple of things, Commissioner.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you all for having me.
Oh, we can't hear you. Oh,
Sorry.
I guess it's good we kind of figure out these things before we get to voting.
Can you try it again? Hear you? No.
Hello, can you hear me?
No. All right, we'll need to get that figured out. It looks like everybody online can hear you, but I guess here in the room we can't. So we will need to get that sorted before we
Try it one more time.
Hello, can you hear me?
All right, well, we will work on that. We'll have to get that sorted before we can officially start and before we take any action, of course. But what we can do in the meantime, since everybody online can hear what's going on in here, is we can have our first presentations. So once again, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming. At our last meeting, we had a very brief discussion. Rebecca brought up Alice, this interesting concept of people who are facing particular barriers to accessing jobs, accessing education and support services. So we thought that was a great opportunity then to bring them in to give us a better idea of what barriers those people face. So I'd like to introduce Janet Brawl. Am I saying that right? She is the statewide director of Alice from United Way of New Mexico.
North Central New Mexico.
North Central New Mexico.
Sorry, just because there's United Way of North Central New Mexico, United Way of Northern New Mexico, United. I want to be sure.
Well, welcome. Yes.
It's okay to be up here. She was.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me today. As Josh mentioned, I'm Jeanette Brawl. I'm the statewide director of Alice and representing the United Ways of New Mexico today. And my colleague Abby Bordner is the area director for our work in Santa Fe. So I appreciate the opportunity. I'm going to give you. I appreciate that Rebecca has given you a
Zoom is running
bit
from
about
here.
Alice. I'll dive a little deeper. And then we're going to tell you about why this could be important for the state. So first of all, next slide.
Okay.
ALICE is an acronym for Asset Limited,
So
Income
we'll wait till they're
Constrained,
done presenting,
Employed,
and then we'll
what we
ask her
used to
speak
call the
again.
working
Okay.
poor.
Thank you.
ALICE has
So
income
this was
or income levels above the federal poverty level, but below the cost of living in their location. They are working, but it's often an essential work. It's the folks who are taking care of our elders, taking care of our children, waiting on us in stores and restaurants. These households are often unable to save anything for an emergency, for their futures, and that's what makes them so vulnerable. Next slide. As you can imagine, and probably know, because you know Alice, you know a family member, a neighbor, a colleague, someone who's Alice, they often struggle to make impossible choices. Do I get my prescription medications, or do I replace the tire that's blown on our only vehicle? these kinds of difficulties affect these households deeply. Next slide, please. United for Alice is a national movement. We are the 34th state to bring Alice to our state. And what Alice is a comprehensive measure of financial hardship. It is basically a deep pool of data. This data is totally accessible and available to anyone. And it can be found on the unitedforalice.org website. And I won't go into too much of all the data because it would take a whole hour or two to do that, but I will reference a little bit of it in a bit. Next slide, please. We could not do this without the investment of these partners, our sponsors, and those who have elected to fund this work for the initial 3 years deserve our gratitude. And we're just very proud to work with them to bring this to the state. Next slide, please. So, as I mentioned, the United Ways of New Mexico, and there are 8 of us, have all worked together to bring this data here because it is not an Albuquerque or a Santa Fe or an any town work. This is a statewide initiative, and the United Ways are working together. We already serve Alice. We're doing our best to help folks access resources, but this Alice data will better position us to respond to our communities, to work with stakeholders and partners, and to be thought leaders with others in our community. It's a really important step for our United Ways. Next slide, please. The data that is collected and compiled is done by a national team out of the United Way of Northern New Jersey, but it is vetted and deeply scrutinized by a panel of statewide research experts. This research advisory committee is chaired by Gabe Sanchez with UNM and has participation virtually from around the state, not precisely, but we do have good cross-representation of a number of communities. Next slide, please. Here's the headline. 46% of New Mexicans fall under this Alice designation. So as you can see, the red portion designates those who qualify for assistance and federal aid. They meet the federal poverty level. Above that is the Alice number. So 29% of people do not qualify for those federal benefits, but do not earn enough to make their household secure. Together, that's 46%. That's the state average. The beauty of this data is it's available by zip code. It's available by county, so that you can see that different counties have different proportion of Alice households in them. Some have a great deal more than 46%, and a few have less. Next slide. All of this is predicated on 8 different elements of what is called the Alice Household Survival Budget. So it's those things which our households consider as well. Housing costs, childcare, food, transportation, technology, healthcare, taxes, and a skinny little 10% for miscellaneous. These costs, again, are local costs. The data isn't perfectly up to date, as no data of this kind of nature would be. So the numbers that you're going to see are from 2023. Next slide, please. Of course, when we're talking about the employed, wages matter. And this is a statewide average that shows that two parents, maybe one's a personal carried and one's a retail worker, if they are earning, and here's the critical piece, if they're paying for their childcare, which we know the prospects for families are better in New Mexico because of the universal childcare put into place. But if a family is paying for two children in childcare, they would need to earn $90,000 a year for all of those elements. So each element is broken out so that you can see what $90,000 a year affords the family. And in most of our counties, that sounds like a lot, but it takes a lot to live. And with costs going up, Alice households are hit harder by inflation. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, the United for Alice website, we have a state report in the upper left-hand corner. That was the data that was released in September of this year, and we'll get more data. There will be a smaller data update coming in May or June. And then in 2027, we'll get another full report. That report is a summary and it dives into many aspects of Alice households in New Mexico. But if you wanted to dive deeper into any aspect, these side tabs, and it cut off, but there's the county reports are available on these side tabs. And you can look at all kinds of aspects of what Alice households earn, what they spend, what they need, how it affects their prospects. So I encourage you to look at that website. 3 different tools that might be of particular interest when we're talking about workforce development would be, there's an income status tool that you can manipulate for the size of the household, the ages of the household. A lot of seniors, a lot of people 65 and older are Alice. So this is not just young families. There's also an economic viability dashboard and something called the Alice wage tool. And this allows us to see per county what the hourly wage would have to be to support a family of 1 or 2 or 4 or whatever. And I think those tools are very, very illuminating. Next slide, please. There's also a legislative district tool, which enables us to look at Alice by state districts and by federal districts. It also folds the demographics in so that we can look at ethnic, racial, and other demographic information for those areas. We look forward to using that tool. Next slide. So we have the data, then what? Alice in Action is the aspiration that we have, and that is to put Alice data to work in our communities. In United Way's worlds, that will be perhaps broadening or deepening our already efforts. 211, our information and referral line, is something that is an immediate in alignment with Alice because it helps callers access resources, something we know Alice families need. We also anticipate doing a lot with financial empowerment, but I'm going to let Abby say more about that in a moment. And we will be seeking policy change. Our hopes are that we can utilize this data to ensure that Alice households are considered in the policy realm. And now I'd like to turn it over to Abby to talk a little bit about some work that United Way will be doing for Alice households.
Great, thanks, Jeanette. I'll talk for a little bit and we'll open it up for questions.
because this is a United Way product that now is in 34 states, we have the advantage that our network partners, other United Ways in other states, can share with us how they use this data, what they're doing, how they're 5 years into using this data, or maybe 6 or more. And so we're learning a lot from our United Way partners. One of the biggest successes is a model called Financial Empowerment Centers. And in Santa Fe County, we are starting small and sustainable with financial coaching as a service that is available to people through our Money Matters program, our tax help program, our financial stability programs that exist within United Way. And so in Santa Fe County, we're looking to help families look at that budget that we saw on the slide with all the different pieces of what is needed when you're putting together your budget and your income. And what I like to say is that the problem here isn't Alice. Alice is the hardworking people that are doing 2, 3 or more jobs. They're raising children, they're getting them to school on time, they're getting what they need for their families. The problem exists when we look at the income versus the budget. And the budget is where people are struggling. So when we look at all the communities around New Mexico, and you can zone in on different neighborhoods and look, what does it cost to live here? What's the average rent? What's the childcare costs? What does it mean for these families to get technology, Wi-Fi, laptops for their kids who are in school? And so this financial empowerment piece is a way that's kind of like a case manager, somebody who can say, let's teach you about money, first of all. And many adults in their 20s are saying, you know, I don't know how a mortgage works or credit card interest rates or rent. I'm just earning money and spending it, and then earning it again and spending it. And so there's an education piece that people get, this one-on-one support to learn what's working in your budget, where is their money being expended for late fees or for high interest rates that we could pare back and put that into a safer investment place. Where are there resources in our community? Have you applied for SNAP benefits or things that might exist that you haven't accessed yet? Is it a language barrier? Is it that you didn't know you were eligible? Is there something we can do to help you access those resources? So we're looking at it from the components of bringing in as many resources to help balance that budget, access things like rebates and making sure people file their taxes and get their tax returns. But then there's also a job training and job skills component that says, this is your income right now, but is there a pathway to increasing the income to help that balance of the income versus budget? So in Santa Fe 2026, we're going to be launching a pilot program for financial coaching that is in response to this Alice data, that is there anything we can do to help stabilize families as quickly as possible when we look at certain aspects of the way they're managing their money. And that's not to say that it's just a money management problem. You know that people with little money are probably way better at managing their money than some of us. If you maybe grew up with the budgeting system of the envelopes. Does anyone remember the envelopes? That was something that is a way that I learned about budgeting. So we're starting to implement some projects. We're also acknowledging that a lot of our current programs are already serving Alice families. We also know that some families that get benefits, as they get towards the end of the month, the last week of the month, the food bank's demand is higher, the rent assistant goes up. We see that with our 211 calls. We can kind of track in real time when and where and why are people seeking out resources. So this will be another way for us to implement strategies to address the struggles and the financial hardships that this data reveals. So that's one project we're working on in Santa Fe County, and we'll finish up our presentation at this point. And if there are questions, Jeanette can answer those.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the board? Yes.
Great presentation, and I just want to find out, are you at all connected with, there's a statewide called the SDOH Collaborative, which is made up of community-based organizations and healthcare facilities who are working with the healthcare authority and the Department of Health on helping the state implement their version of Find Health, but also looking at insane issues. Meet monthly, and they have lots of different work groups that work you're doing might
be a
or
lot.
little.
Wonderful to know. I wasn't aware, so thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
I mean, I'll just make a comment. So I'm very familiar with this work. We've been lucky to be kind of involved in the discussions around it for a while. And what I will just say is that data tool, I mean, they just scratch the surface of the things that you can figure out on that data tool. So for us, for workforce development, when we're trying to think about what are the communities where we can partner with, whether it's institutions of higher education or other training organizations, in order to be able to find and supplement maybe our workforce in a way that we hadn't thought about. Really, those zip codes, those by county, all of those are really, really helpful, because now you know that not only are you looking at places where maybe you haven't been getting your workforce from before when you look at your own data, but then you begin to realize there's real opportunity in some of these areas. So and if you're any kind of a data nerd, for lack of a better phrase, our data scientists up there let us use that phrase. So it really is just kind of fascinating. And I think one of the things that I always appreciated about the discussion around this, and I'm stealing Rodney, who's the director, CEO's language, is, you know, we're just talking about, these are people who are working. They're the backbone of our economy in most cases. And so we really just need to think about how we're engaging in that data and understanding what that means, right? We're not trying to judge, it's very much just this is the backbone of our economy, the jobs that these individuals are doing. So how are we making sure that we're continuing to support that backbone, and when and where we can, if there's opportunities to provide professional development or education and training so that they can move up, you know, others come in, and then you can just kind of keep that, you know, pipeline going. So it's just been for us a new way to think about workforce development, and it's one that we appreciate.
Thank you. Yes, Kelly.
Then I had two questions. The first question being, I get this is employment data, but are you starting to see in any of the other 33 states where ALICE has been implemented for much longer than in New Mexico, that data is being leveraged at all for trends in unemployment or unengaged individuals? And if so, how could New Mexico start to look at that with our high unemployment rate? And then the last question, if you wouldn't mind sharing kind of the legislative efforts that you're going to be seeking either this session or in the next 60 days.
Thank you for that. As to trends in unemployment, I would say that because the workforce is so fluid, it might be a challenge to really say that the people who were included in the figures were employed and now are not, and you know, those trends are big numbers. So I would have to ask the experts in New Jersey how they look at unemployment and measure that. In the state report, there is a section on workforce participation in New Mexico.
Yeah.
But as to how it tracks that over time, I assume it does, but I could learn more. So I've noted your name, and I appreciate that question. Legislatively, we will be working our way toward a better understanding of where our advocacy might make the most difference. United Way's work a lot upstream to prevent homelessness rather than necessarily on homelessness, for instance. We certainly would be interested in advocating for the food insecurity, food security for more families, as we already do. I can't answer you expressly where our efforts will go, because we have a lot to learn in this realm. While United Ways have done some advocacy work, this is a chance for us to deepen our skills in that realm. And so we have not yet developed what I would call a policy agenda. We're more on the learning phase, and then we'll move into action toward the 2027 session.
Thank you for your efforts in New Mexico and for the supporting organizations helping.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. Just a quick note, if we can remember to say our name before we speak. I neglected to bring that up earlier, but it helps with the minutes. Plus, since we have people online, we need
The last question came from Kelly Repke, AGC New Mexico.
Thank you, Kelly.
Comment, Rebecca Estrada, Los Alamos National Lab.
Oh, and I guess I didn't say my name when I spoke. Did we have a question or comment?
Scott Roginski, Deputy Secretary, I guess. And I had a question similar to Kelly's. You had said you will be seeking policy changes in there. And so, and I know Kelly asked about state legislative changes. You were saying you weren't sure till maybe 27. Didn't know if if Alice in general were looking besides state legislation for policy changes, or if they were looking at reg changes, funding changes, or federally. That's my question.
And federally, I think there are a lot of nonprofits who are already doing really amazing policy advocacy work. And when I say we would seek policy change, I think probably the likelihood is we would work with those who are already seeking policy change. But federally, that's a really great question. One of our first concerns federally is the integrity of the data. We have had this set of data. Now what happens if, in fact, data isn't collected in the same way or disseminated? And so there are data concerns that the United for Alice home team is at work on. A lot of that will be revealed in time, and as well as where our policy and advocacy initiatives might head. Again, we're going to listen to our partners, to those who have had a longer history in advocating for families. We've had lots of conversations with organizations that are working on behalf of Alice and are very eager to work on a policy agenda or direction at least. And so far that's been very unformed.
And I will say, I'll add too, that it is public data. So now it is available for any policymaker. If this data could support a bill that you're working on, it's accessible but it's public data. And a lot of our nonprofit partners are already using this data as they apply for grants and to prove and build their story and their case. So if we aren't saying that United Way is going to spearhead everything that moves forward at this point with the Alice data. We brought it to New Mexico as a resource to everyone working on behalf of people of Alice in New Mexico, that this is your data too. So share the information, the link, and pull from it if it builds your case in any way, anything that you're personally working on.
Thank you. And just as a follow-up, you were saying federally looking at the integrity of the data. Can you say a little bit what that means?
Well, in order for data to be comparable year to year, the same data has to be available and available in the same, at the same depth, the same level. So as we imagine that there are just changes at the federal level, how do those affect data collection and availability? I wouldn't say anyone is just sure it's going to be problematic, but there is at least an understanding that that is something to look at, to ensure that as the team there is looking forward to the next data rollout, can they get that same data? Will they be able to get the same volume of data, that kind of thing?
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions, comments from the board?
Do you want to ask them? They should be able to hear or speak online now.
Okay. Anybody online? Okay, does somebody online just want to say hi so that we know that the audio is working?
Hi,
Sure, testing.
Yes. Thank you.
you can hear us good.
All right, so I'm not hearing any questions or comments online. I do have a couple of things. So with New Mexico introducing universal childcare, you seen any impact to that, or have you, I know the numbers are back from 2023. But are you noticing any changes in the numbers or?
We haven't had the data long enough to notice any changes, but I'll tell you what, when I spoke about this at a national convening of other ALICE states, the congratulations that came our way were immense. Clearly, addressing childcare costs is critically needed for ALICE households, and we're very excited to see what the next large set of data reveals about childcare and that percentage of ALICE families. We're very hopeful.
That's good to know. And just as a side note, working in an area that has a lot of El Paso employees crossing that state line, there's definitely a realization that life is a lot better in New Mexico. So hopefully we can start pulling more people to our side of the line. The other, I guess it's, well, a comment and a question. Financial education that you had mentioned before. Are you working with credit unions in your area? Okay, good. Because I know they're huge advocates on financial literacy, particularly what's called a CDFI credit union, which is Community Development Financial Institution, which is a program out of the Treasury. And they receive grants specifically for groups that fall into this category. So I figured you guys were already working closely with them, so.
Yeah, they're our primary sponsor for bringing this.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and the financial empowerment centers is right in what they're really interested in is this idea of providing education and still.
All right, great. All right, any other final questions or comments?
Actually, sorry, one
Yes.
last thing. So Rebecca Straddle with Alamos National Laboratory. As you, and maybe this is more of a seeding, and you just made me think of this, because I know at least in the northern part of the state, one of the things we're finding is we're very excited about the impact that the universal childcare is going to make. But we also have found that we have real childcare deserts, particularly the farther north that you go. And for us, of course, some of that's about workforce development, right? We need to think about how do we help create a workforce in order to create those capacity in the childcare centers that exist, and then create new ones where they don't. But I guess I would just say, kind of as a seeding, as you go forward and look at some of this data, it might be interesting to kind of track if there's more impact as you're looking at where childcare is more easily accessible versus, because again, you're looking at those geographic, you can go down to zip code or county or, municipality. So just that might also kind of an unintended benefit might be being able to help us identify also where are the places that we need to help create more access to those things. And I think we know them, right? We have a whole department at the state level that's already, looking at this with early childhood. But I think it's nice when those things dovetail and speak to each other.
And to look at the data with that in mind, because if it's about a household with children, for sure, this is a primary cost.
And if the cabinet, if the early childhood, I almost get the name, sorry. But if what the data that we're pulling at the state level matches what, say, Alice is also seeing in terms of where those childcare deserts are, just strengthens the argument for understanding where we need to focus efforts.
Thank you, Rebecca. Was there another comment? Okay. All right, well, thank you, Jeanette, Abby, so much.
We very much appreciate your time today. Hope we didn't take too much of your thing, but please do tell others about Alice. And we look forward to continuing the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I have some data sheets. I'll leave them on the back table. It's kind of a roundup of some of the state numbers.
Thank you. All right, next on our agenda is a presentation from Project Jupiter, but we weren't able to get this sorted out. Project Jupiter are the group that is bringing a data center to Southern Doña Ana County, but we couldn't get that sorted out for today. But it was on the agenda, so we couldn't take it off. The next item is one of our partner updates. we've got Gloria Juarez with the Southwestern Area Workforce Development Board to give us an update on what they're doing down there. Thank you, Gloria, for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to present online virtually. Appreciate that. Would you like me to share the presentation? Who's running the meeting, Veronica? Or were you sharing it?
If you want to just share your screen.
Great, perfect. All right, is that good on your end?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Josh, for the introduction. Gloria Juarez, I'm the WIOA Administrator for the Southwestern Area Workforce Development Board. And today I'll just go over a few highlights condensing our 200-page workforce plan to a small presentation for you all today. So we'll start with a little bit of our mission, just a quick overview and some bullet points. Of course, this probably aligns with all the other regions and the state as well, as far as cultivating an adaptable, skilled workforce aligned with employer needs, support job seekers, youth, and priority populations, and advance equitable economic prosperity across southwestern New Mexico. Our vision is to provide a unified data-driven workforce system along with partnerships and really foster the strong industry and education partners, provide clear pathways leading to sustainable employment. I wanted to add a little visual of some of the items that we've been doing that ties into this vision, and this is a youth industry forum we did at Las Montañas Charter School in Las Cruces. And this just really piggybacks off the creating those partnerships with the education system and leading those career pathways. This particular one was in the we were introducing them to the sector in education, and so we had many educators of different areas within the education system present and offer them some guidance, provide them with some insight into the career into the education career on all different levels. This was a fun event. We are a 7-county workforce region, and of course that includes Catron County, Hidalgo, Grant, Luna, Donna Ana, Sierra, and Socorro County. One thing that we have focused on in our region is really trying to align with the New Mexico state plan. And we were really included in the development of that as far as the workforce regions. The secretary convened with the local regions to be sure that we had some input. So that's really appreciated. And so one thing we have to do is be sure that we align with a state plan. And our primary focus will be on the rural, border, and underserved communities. As you know, our counties, most of our counties in our region are border communities right alongside Mexico. And we have a lot of rural and underserved population in this area. Strategic priorities, really focusing on sector partnerships. We have, in alignment with the state, have conducted some sector strategy convenings. So far, we have convened the ag sector and the energy sector, and really trying to just focus on working with our employers within those sectors and ensuring that we're aligned with their priorities as well. Yep. All right. Formulating career pathways and credential attainment, really making sure that we collaborate with those already doing the work in career pathways. Of course, our workforce system focuses on laying out career pathways, but also working with organizations such as the Bridge of Southern New Mexico. I see Beth is in the audience, and Josh also serves on that board. The workforce collaboratives there's one in Luna County and one in Donna Ana County, and really working on aligning our career pathway work with those organizations, and also working with economic development, Mavida, and those types of industry and formulating career pathways in the southern region. Holding the youth industry forums, really introducing the careers in the industries to the youth is the main target, of course. I know that GWS has began an initiative similar to that in the East and I believe a different region, but just really focusing on introducing those careers to our youth as young as we can get them and making sure that they're aware of what opportunities are there for them, really laying out those career pathways. Integrated service delivery, of course, that's always a focus. And then one of the priorities that we continue to work on is equity and access, especially in those remote areas or rural areas where we don't have any field offices, really focusing on that as a priority. As I mentioned earlier, aligning with state workforce board goals is important. Advanced sector-based strategies and aligning with the state priority industries. We have partnered on those sector strategy convenings, as I stated, and that will continue moving forward. Whether it's a statewide sector strategy convening or a local, we will work together on making sure that those are effective and have an impact on each region, not only the Southwest. Increase credential attainment and work-based learning and improve service integration across core partners, support equity access and rural workforce participation. I'll continue to talk about that throughout this presentation. And as we just continue the work, these areas are extremely important and we really need to focus on providing access to everybody and anybody. Use data and performance accountability to drive results. I didn't put a lot of data in this presentation, but it is in our plan. And later I will share the link. And if you would like, you can just type in any word and look for what industry you're looking at, see our data and performance measures. Of course, all of our work really is just driven by data. Priority industries in our area. The first is healthcare and social assistance, education, manufacturing, logistics, and especially in the borderplex industry, agriculture and food systems, arts, film, hospitality, and tourism. We recently added a film liaison to our board, as this is just a growing industry, especially statewide, not only in southern New Mexico, but originally started to be a focus priority in northern New Mexico. Marquise strengths are a strong one-stop partner network. We do feel that our one-stop operator really has a good handle on bringing the partners together, talking routinely, holding meetings, convening, making sure that all of our priorities and our strategic plans align. Increase in our partner network. We recently added a New Mexico Commission for the Blind to our memorandum of understanding for our partnership. And that's important. Of course, continuing to enhance employer and education partnerships and making sure that we're using data-driven information to help us formulate all of our initiatives. Cross-border regional collaboration, as I have been talking about as well. Some of the challenges that we see, especially in the rural areas, is seasonal employment. We continue to work with, especially Luna County, who has the highest unemployment rate in the state and potentially in the nation, but really focusing on what we can do to make sure that that gap is filled and those numbers continue to decrease as far as the unemployment rate. Healthcare and education workforce shortages. This is a national issue heavily in our state. We're focusing on trying to fill those gaps. There's in healthcare and education, as we all know, that is not quite. It's on everyone's radar, I guess I should say. So this is important, and we'll continue to focus on that. Transportation, childcare, and housing barriers. This was discussed earlier. Now with universal childcare, of course, it's excellent for anyone in the workforce. However, we will face the challenges of assisting those childcare facilities and expansions, increasing their employees to serve all those that are in need of childcare. And then the housing barriers, we're fortunate enough that I'm not sure if the cabinet secretary feels the same way, but a housing division has been added to the Department of Workforce Solutions. So I know that that we're really bringing some of those initiatives to the forefront and trying to break some of those barriers. And we do have a labor force participation decline, which has continued to be a challenge. Some of our labor market insights is healthcare and education dominate the demand. Aging workforce and retirements. Some of our communities within our region actually advertise as being retirement communities. And so that's a great thing, right? But also it is a challenge when we talk about the workforce and the aging of that workforce participant and the retirees. There's a growing need for upskilling and reskilling. And of course, we've been focusing on pre-apprenticeships and apprenticeships to attempt to fill that gap. One thing we have seen in the last data gathering for our plan was the number of job openings is roughly equal to the number of unemployed individuals. And that doesn't seem the case in most areas, but that is what some of the data that we included in our plan was showing. Performance insights, the need for stronger job matching. Of course, when we reach participants and they become part of our system, we want to be sure that we're aligning their job interest to the job that we're actually putting them in, whether it's work experience, on the job training. But we do believe that we need to strengthen that so they can actually go and continue to work. Some folks. We recently had a gentleman who wanted his CDL certification and was provided that and then decided later he didn't want to be in that type of business. So really focusing on job matching and expanded employer engagement. The employers guide the work we do. I mean, if we're not engaged with our employers in the workforce system, then we really have some weaknesses. So we need to focus on really igniting those relationships with their employers and continue to create our work based on their needs. And this falls into targeted training and aligned to demand. Alignment is huge in this area, and continuous performance monitoring. Our administrative entity has reorganized and we have a monitor on staff now. So they're really going to focus on monitoring the performance and making sure that our work aligns with improving that performance. Our performance goals, increasing credential attainment is always a priority. Not only does the state require it, the federal guidelines require that, and that is part of our performance measures. Improve employment and retention outcomes. We are focused on making sure that those folks we put out to the workforce field, that they actually stay employed and continue to be employed for years to come. Expand apprenticeships and on-the-job training, as I stated earlier, and reduce duplication and improve coordination among all partners. Some of our short-term initiatives, we hope to get some of this done within the next 12 months, and of course, continue to work on this daily, expand healthcare and education sector convenings. As I stated, we do some industry forums for the youth, and we want to also pivot and try to reach our adults in that area as well. Enhance outreach to priority populations, expand outreach and improve technology access, especially in our remote areas or our rural areas. We do have access points for in the places we don't have offices. And so we really want to improve that that outreach mechanism. Right now, we have computers set up in these access points with directly to our website and information access on the desktops of all those computers, but we feel like improving technology would really help. I mean, I've even joked about let's putting Ring doorbells within those work sites and having someone on the other end waiting as they're doing their regular work, waiting for them to answer those calls. but something to that nature where we can really access the customers walking in. Focus on adult reentry programs with state corrections. We're already working with the state corrections and really just expanding on those programs and the reentry so that when the folks, incarcerated folks, get released, they are equipped with certifications and education, and they're ready to hit the workforce. And the just involved youth coordinating with the district court system. In the Sixth Judicial District, we have they have a juvenile justice continuum of services, and working with those coordinators, you know, many of the conditions of probation or any type of justice plan can possibly mandate the youth to participate or actually, you know, apply for our programs. And so really enhancing the relationship with the district court system is one of, personally, one of my initiatives, along with the rest of the partners. Focus on adult reentry programs is, as I stated, that is a repeat. Sorry about that. Midterm initiatives, scale work-based learning, statewide priorities, expand rural and migrant seasonal farm worker training access. So we talked about earlier with some of those gaps in the off season of the migrant seasonal farm workers. Strengthen employer-led training models. And our long-term initiatives, this is, of course, three years, looking forward to 4 years past today. We will have to revamp our local plan in 2 years, but this is something that'll continue to stay and build regional talent pipelines. I continue to talk about career pathways, which is really important in setting those pipelines for the workforce field. Technology-enabled service delivery and a sustainable system integration with the state strategy. So in conclusion, one of our main focuses I can continue to reiterate is aligning with the state and supporting their goals, advance WIOA performance outcomes. You know, we are graded by our performance, and with that, really just shows how well we're doing and we're performing, and how well our customers and participants are performing, and that continues to be an area of focus. Strengthen regional contribution to statewide workforce success. So we want to be a region that is that performs just as well as the other regions. And so thankfully we all collaborate very well together. And we do have, I have a few mentors in the other regions, but we want to be just as good and impact the put New Mexico as one of the top successors in this area. So here we have my contact information, and I've also put the link to the local workforce plan and the state plan. And with that, thank you so much.
Thank you, Glory. Do we have any questions or comments from the board? Yes, Kelly.
Kelly Repkeworth, AGC New Mexico. Thank you for the presentation. You mentioned a short-term goal, and I'm just curious if you wouldn't mind elaborating or giving an example on the employer-led training models. What do those look like in your region? Where have you found success, and how do you plan to strengthen those?
So one of our goals, and I've been talking about sector strategies convening, and within those convenings, you really set out the goals and the needs of the employers. And so our vision is to continue with those convenings, create a good solid plan and report out of those convenings, and then use that as a guide to formulate the plan moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Anybody else? Anybody online? All right. Well, Glory, thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you for the presentation.
Thank you all. Looking forward to see you in person soon.
All right, that brings us to the end of our presentations. And now we can officially call this meeting to order. first thing I would like to do is reintroduce Commissioner Cerna. Since we can hear you now, if you want to give us a few words about yourself, Commissioner.
Hello, everyone. I'm Samantha Cerna, a Lincoln County Commissioner. I'm really grateful to be a part of the State Workforce Development Board and excited to learn from you all. I'm here to share a rural perspective and help connect people to training and jobs to fit our rural communities down here in southern New Mexico. And I'm looking forward to working together and helping to support all of the work ahead. Thank you all.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you for helping us bring more of that rural voice to this board.
Thank you.
All right, let's start off with the roll call.
Hi, everyone. This is Monica Perry. I'm the State Board Admin. I work with DWS. Let's start the roll call. Designee Alex Greenberg. Senator Michael Padilla. Representative Doreen Gallegos. Chair Joshua Orozco.
Here.
Casey Durad. Here. Dr. Rebecca Estrada.
Present.
Deborah Moore. Carlos Romero.
Here.
Thank you. Mathis Shinnick. Luis Reyes. Sorry, Luis is excused. Teresa Stewart.
Present.
Patricia Chavez.
Present.
Erica Genti. She's excused. She's excused. Thank you. Dr. Wagner.
Present.
Ed Williams. Present. Arlene Murillo.
Present.
Should I read?
No.
Paul Espinosa. Dr. Sabrina Azell.
Present.
Carla Kubler. Kelly Roki Orth.
Present.
Secretary Nyer. Present. Amber Gallup.
Present.
Greg Trapp.
Here.
Commissioner Sanchez. Commissioner Cerna.
Present.
Scott McKinsey.
Here.
Marcos Martinez.
Here.
Rizzi Gutierrez.
Present.
Patrick Gannon is also excused, and Carrie Armijo. Okay. We still have a quorum? We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. All right, let's start off. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
Just removing Project Jupiter's
Oh,
presentation.
I guess technically we don't need to.
Okay.
They just weren't here, so we just skipped over it. But if we want to change anything around, I guess we could do that now. Online, any changes to the agenda? All right, not hearing or seeing any, we will move on. Moving on to the approval of our November 13th meeting minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review those? And if so, is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly, with the motion. Is there a second?
Second, Paul Espinosa with correction.
Thank you, Paul. It's been moved and seconded. Just as a reminder, what we'll do is for everybody in the room, we can do a voice vote, but then online we'll do a roll call.
On a correction on the minutes.
Oh, yes.
So correction on the minutes, Paul Espinosa, last meeting on November 13th, I was present at me virtual.
Okay.
Oh,
Then I think we can, make that change. Kelly, do you mind amending your motion to include the change?
Motion to revise board meeting minutes for November 13th to reflect Paul's attendance virtually.
Not wrong.
It- You are on there as virtual, unless you were here in person and I missed that, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He was here.
Oh, I'm sorry. In person, I apologize, not virtual.
Gotcha. Thank you, sorry about that.
He was here.
All right, so the motion to approve the minutes with the change that Paul was in person has been moved and seconded in the room. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Please say nay. All right, and then we'll go to a roll call vote online.
Carlos Romero,
I approve, yes.
Arlene Murillo,
Yes.
Dr. Azell,
Yes.
Amber Gallup,
Yes.
Commissioner Serna,
Abstain.
Tracy Gutierrez.
Yes.
And I think that's everyone, but if I missed anyone, please let me know now.
Did you say early?
All right, sounds like we got everybody. With that then, the minutes are approved. Moving on to our next item, our committee updates, realizing that hasn't been such a long time since we last met. We may not have a lot of updates. In fact, I think some of our committees have been postponing meetings because of the holiday season. But just in case, we'll move on to the policy committee. Carla isn't here, but do we have any updates there?
Becca's telling me to do it. Okay,
I'm looking at Ron.
Okay.
thank you, Chair. Policy Committee has been meeting and has continued to review the local governance policy that we have. We were hoping to have it ready by today's meeting, but as we took another look at it, we realized that there's probably a couple of areas that still need to be strengthened or maybe reworded. So it's right there. We just need another month to look at it and then we'll have it ready for the February meeting. We'll probably have about 2 or 3 other policies that are going to be presented at the February meetings. That's the update for the policy committee. Did I miss anything? Rebecca, Scott, Craig? Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm assuming it'll be ready when it's ready, so thank you. Any questions for the policy committee? Online? All right, not seeing any. We'll move on to the business engagement committee. Casey?
Okay, I have a little more than last time, even though we didn't meet, but we are planning, our next meeting is January 15th. And then we're going to start with every other week for probably a couple of months, but then assess the cadence and it'll probably just go to once a month. And members include the past chair, Mathis Shinnick, as well as other workforce development board members. I have Carla Kubler, Beth Williams, and Patricia Chavis. And then Karen Huladek is working with us to help re-engage the regional workforce board representatives, as well as some of the business leaders that were on it previously. We've been doing some recruiting and have representatives in health, aerospace, energy, IT, advanced computing, and bioscience. So we should have some good industry leaders that'll start showing. And the objectives for the committee will be 1, to partner with employers to fill vacancies in priority sectors, 2, attract and retain workers by supporting employers in attracting out-of-state talent, as well as keeping New Mexico talent, and then increase participation in the workforce by re-engaging hard-to-reach population. And I plan to, the Workforce Leadership Academy that just finished, they had a great presentation on re-engaging the workforce, and so we'll have them probably come present at one of our meetings, but also can recommend reporting to the main workforce board if you are interested. We did input to the DWS sector strategy survey, so hopefully that was helpful. And then we did publish our bridging industry needs with space talent pipelines in New Mexico. And we have our lovely secretary quote on the back. And we're hoping that it will help DWS with the sector strategies that can take some of this and really give it a good head start for the aerospace sector strategy. So hopefully you could use the data. And I brought a number of copies of this if anyone wants some. That was the bag I was carrying. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Casey. Any questions for Casey?
Hi, Beth
Yes.
Williams. I haven't gotten any email. Okay, all right, sorry, I was like.
It's been very silent.
Okay, I just was
really
making
hard
sure it was
because
right, 'cause I'm.
It's all the holidays and
Okay,
they were wanting to do January 8th and then there's comments. So
you have a lot of comment, and I was like, I haven't met.
Like
Look forward
those
to it.
objectives were before we
Okay.
started recruiting, so
Very good.
I just wasn't realizing that I had to present last time, so I don't have.
Very good.
Any other questions or comments? Online? All right, not hearing any, we'll move on to our Education and Workforce Committee. Kelly.
Nothing substantial since we met in November. We're not having a December meeting. We're gonna reconvene in January. But we had some good momentum in 2025, and I reported out at that about that at the last meeting. In addition, and Casey, you and I might want to collaborate a little bit because with regards to that Workforce Leadership Academy, which is a grant that the city of Albuquerque received from the Aspen Institute. I was also at that meeting. Deputy Secretary Groginski and I were talking about also bringing them in for a presentation. So maybe we can coordinate in the new year on that. But they had some wonderful
was really
findings
good.
with regards to how you re-engage workforce. And then maybe we have some proposals to bring back to the board. So nothing other. And I look forward to sending an invitation to Beth because I understand you're interested in joining that subgroup as well. There we go.
Guess what? This is how it happens. Yes.
Thank you, Kelly. Questions? Yes, Paul.
Kelly, yes, Paul Espinoza. Yes, I'm also very interested in getting on that board as along with the Education and Workforce Committee because I sit at the national level with employment for veterans and workforce at the Washington.
All right, Paul, I will send an email to both of you. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments online? All right. Let's move on to the Data and Performance Committee, which I am chairing right now. No report because I haven't met with myself yet on this. I kid. We've got a few members, but we haven't. I think I reported last month that I wanted to wait until the new year to kind of get this going. Some idea that I have is one idea I have is to create a, and I haven't expressed this to staff yet, so here you go. A data dashboard for our board packet. Not something that we need to report on every time we meet, but just information that's in there. Since we meet on a quarterly basis, we can get quarterly updates. So I'll want to talk with the other members of the committee to get some ideas. I have some already, but stuff we might find interesting. And then we can include in our reports at each board meeting something that's kind of note. So I think that might be useful to the board. Any questions for me? Or does anybody else want to join my committee?
We need,
Kelly, awesome.
we need more members.
I think I'm also on that one, aren't I?
You are, yes, you are now. And Therese, thank you.
Just not all January 15th. Let's do them all over.
All at one time.
And then that brings me to another item. Do we have the list to show who is on what committee? Is that something we can put on the screen? We have a list of who we think is on each committee, and we just wanted to be sure that that is right. So that when we start the new year, we can hit it with our hit the ground running.
I can put it on the screen, but I think maybe we should review it together first. What do you?
Okay, well, if that's
Make
it,
sure
then
that's
no, let's don't put that on the screen.
Okay.
But I, from memory, we had a shorter list that was easy to read, but if not, what we will do is, can we send that out to the board? And if you're on a committee and you didn't know, hopefully you want to continue on that committee. But if you're not, just verify that we have everything correct. If you would like to join the committee, please chime in at that time. Send that out. All right, then let's move on to NMDWS updates.
Great.
Secretary.
Well, hello, everybody. Just want to start by thanking the Mid-Region Council Governments for this great facility again. Our arts director, thank you for hosting us. Also just wanted to reflect on our board membership and what a great job our team has done in getting folks recruited, but how all of you have stepped up. It's just so great to see healthcare here, including behavioral health, see the bridge back at the table. You know, it's just a really great geographic diversity now. So I just wanted to thank our team and then thank all of you for serving. I think this is the fullest this boat has been in the 3 years that I've been in the department. So it's just exciting. And thanks, Josh, for all your efforts into that too. Wanted to flag the labor force participation rate study. So we were funded by the legislature last year to do that. I think the email went out to the board members, but we're happy to send that again. But this is to really try to drill down on why are people not engaged in the labor force, either working or looking for work. So if you get it and you want to answer it, the minute you say you have a job, you are going to be kicked out of the circuit. But if you have friends who aren't engaged in the labor force or who maybe are working, you know, in the gig economy, in the creative economy, anywhere where they might not be showing up on our numbers, that's one area we're particularly interested in. And then there are also questions, depending on how you answer some questions, you get to questions about transportation, you know, caregiving and housing and all the other things that we know make it difficult for people to engage in work. So please send that out to community, and we want to get a really broad representation across the state. We will send out our legislative agenda. We're just putting the final touches on that, but our only substantive legislation, which I think I talked about last time, is the Office of New Americans, but we're really excited about that. That is our office for all things at the corner of work and immigration, and seeing a lot of support for that. So we're optimistic that bill will go through. And then of course we have all of our budgetary requests. And that does include money to make up for our WIOA cuts, so that our borders are paid whole for those cuts. And then wanted to acknowledge a couple things. Lanel, on the housing side, which I don't usually talk about here, but we engaged with the Lanel team on a data sprint, and they did such an amazing job that since we have Rebecca here, I wanted to really acknowledge what an amazing job the community data team does. They looked at basically every piece of data on homelessness in the state. They looked at all of the official numbers. They looked at all the schools numbers. They looked at all the Coalition to End Homelessness numbers, and they came up with some great insights. So I just really wanted to acknowledge what a great partner Lanel has been. So thank you. And then we have, we've announced lots of new initiatives, but I did want to note that Rural P20, which I think Lori mentioned briefly. So hopefully you saw the announcement on that, but this was an idea that came to us from the East that involving 3 lead schools, Levington, Mosquero, and Corona. And that's where we actually talked about it, yeah. And it's very exciting. So it's pre-K through age 20, you know, so that's the sort of all the way to workforce. Very exciting initiative, and happy to share more. I think maybe after a few months we could have them, maybe for the fall meeting would be a good time to have them come present, tell us how that's going. And then last, I just wanted to recognize we have yet another full doctor now on our board, and congratulate Amber Gallup, who also received the Tom Pope Joy Dissertation Prize from UNM. So congratulations, Amber.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And that's it for me.
Thank you, Secretary. Are there any questions for the Secretary? Yes.
Secretary, when you move forward with legislation, do you require the board to be there to support you in any way? And if so, what would that be?
We don't require, because it's from the department side. It's not from the State Workforce Board side. And this one in particular removed from WIOA, but when we send out the legislative agenda, we say, hey, we would love anything you feel like you want to support. We would love that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Anybody else online? All right, thank you. Let's move on to the next item, chair and board comments. Do we have any comments from the board for this month? Yes,
Rebecca
Rebecca.
Estrada, the Salamouth National Laboratory. So because you mentioned it, now I'm gonna get in trouble if I don't. So part of that project, we have a community technical assistance program as well as a data sprint program, which is what it sounds like. It's based kind of on the hackathon, but it's where we work with either nonprofit, educational, or governmental bodies in order to be able to help them do like these deep dives into data. And analyze and, depending on whatever the major burning questions are that particular organization or agency has, we work with them to get those answered. So we're literally about to start the recruitment call. So I'm happy to share that information with everyone in case you're interested in doing it. And I'm part of that, but my colleague, Patrick Duran, is the one who actually coordinates most of that project. And so we're literally starting that process now. So if you know of any organization that might be interested and is eligible, please feel free to send them our way, because we have found this is our 4th year of doing it. And we've done everything from institutions of higher education, obviously DWS, nonprofit organizations, and Food Depot was also one of the other ones that we worked with during this last data sprint. So we're really happy to be able to continue to provide that service. So we'll send out that information.
Thank you, Rebecca. Any other comments from the board?
Sure.
Yeah.
Breezy, I'm sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but do you mind sharing a little bit about the work with the CTE and the convenings that are going to be happening in partnership with the boards?
Yes, so we have our comprehensive local needs assessment happening soon. So we have 10 regions across the state, and they will be working with your local workforce boards in order to carry out the meetings, which includes a deep dive into the labor market information in order for schools to make data-informed decisions as to what programs of study align to certain specific clusters and the data in order to determine what programs they will be carrying out in the next 2-year cycle of the Perkins funding. And I know, thank you for sending out, you have the dates. I will send you some updated information on the locations of those meetings too as well.
Thank you, Breezy.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Veronica. Anybody else online? Oh,
sorry, I do want to emphasize that it's really important in these comprehensive local needs assessment meetings that there is representation of students, families, tribal affiliation, industry partners, administrators, post-secondary. It's really important that everybody contributes and comes to the table to help make those informed decisions. So sorry to interrupt.
thank you, Breezy.
Thank you.
Any other comments online? All right. I guess from me, I just want to reiterate that the study that the secretary reminded us about, please share that with your networks. The more data we can get on that will help the state a lot. We have one of the lowest labor participation rates. And if we can improve that number, that really helps us fill a lot of empty jobs in the state. Looking over my notes, sorry. The last thing, not the last thing. I think last meeting, we learned that we have a few birthdays today.
Today.
Greg
Today.
and Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
What, and was there a third one?
I thought there was a third.
Maybe not, but I just wanted to acknowledge, thank you for joining us on your birthday. I appreciate it.
It's tomorrow, which I have taken off.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's good.
I am today.
He is
All
Greg is
right.
today.
Well, happy birthday. Thank you for joining us. I won't force you guys to sit through happy birthday song, but wanted to acknowledge you guys. So thank you so much for still attending, even though it's your birthdays. Thank you. And then the final thing is, I wanted to thank the board and staff. It's been an interesting year. I think I mentioned this before, but we lost a lot of business members. It was kind of a perfect storm situation, which meant we could not meet for a while. So again, to reiterate what the secretary said, thank you to staff and board members for helping us refill those ranks. That has allowed us to meet, and I'm very excited for some of our new faces. I think we've got a great board. We have, as the secretary said, great representation from different sectors, different geographies. It's so important to get those rural areas. We do appreciate that. So it's been a year, and I'm very excited for the coming year. Our committees are moving. We're doing work. And I see 2026 as being a year of educating ourselves on different things around the state. We have a lot to learn. It's going to be an ongoing process, and we're going to take that information and use it to make better policy, to make better suggestions for the system. And I'm very excited for where we're going. So I wanted to thank everybody, thank all the new board members for being willing to join us. And I'm very excited. So thank you. With that, let's move on to public comment. Do we have any comments for our 2024-2027 WIOA state plan modifications?
We did not get any public comments.
All right, any in the room? Okay, I'm not seeing any, so we'll move on to just general comments.
I know we're online with that either.
All right, in the room, any general comments?
Chair.
Yes.
So just a little bit of clarification. So right now you can make a public comment at any time on our current as is combined state plan. So that is posted on our DWS website, so you have access to that. We are planning on having the public comment for the modification of the plan in February? Yeah. So in February is when there'll be another public comment period for all of the modifications that have been made. So right now, all of the partners have submitted their modifications to us at DWS. So we thank all the partners for doing that in a very timely, quick turnaround manner. And then we will combine all of those together, and then we will then have the public comment for the modification. Keep an eye out for that notification and that. And then when we meet in February is when we will have the state board approve that modification to the plan.
Okay. All right, seeing no public comment, let's move on. We are at the end of our agenda. Just a few dates to keep in mind. We've got our state WIOA conference, which is May 3rd to 5th, and that'll be in Santa Fe. I think this is going to be an exciting one. We're doing a very, well, I don't want to say because I'm not involved, but I don't want to take any ownership from you guys. Staff has come up with a partnership that I think is going to be very exciting for everybody who goes. So we will learn more about that coming up. But again, that's May 3rd and 5th, 3rd through 5th in Santa Fe. Also, a list of our upcoming meetings for the year: February 26th, May 5th, August 6th, and November 5th. And just a reminder, we will once again be traveling around the state, get to see the different areas and learn more about the economic development and workforce development comings and goings in those regions. If there are no objections, then yes.
A couple of really quick things for board members, if I can. if you have not signed your DM form, please see Veronica over here after the meeting. There are cupcakes to celebrate the birthdays. Please help yourself afterwards. I think we put them on the back table with the coffee. And then I have some cards up here for former members and some of our speakers from the last meeting. So if you'd like to sign those, please help yourself. And that's it.
Those are thank you cards.
Yes, thank you cards.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So the May 5th meeting, will it coincide then with the conference or will it be after?
It'll coincide.
Okay.
So. All right, if there are no objections, then we are adjourned. Everybody, thank you so much. Merry Christmas.